So if you've ever been out shooting photo or video and came home and were completely surprised by what you got, maybe good or bad, or if you've ever said to yourself, I can't wait to get this home and get it on the computer and see what it looks like, then you already know what a field monitor is for, and you might even have a little idea that you might need one. And effectively, a field monitor is supposed to take away that variable or that unknown of what your footage or photos are going to look like when you get them home and get them onto your monitor on your computer. In many ways, the idea of a field monitor seems completely counterintuitive because you know you already have a screen on your camera, but you also know that when you get home, you're not exactly sure what you're going to get. And that's because the screen on your camera sucks. And it doesn't matter what manufacturer of camera you've got, even Sony and Panasonic, who actually make televisions, who make monitors. Even the screens on their cameras are just not very good. And there's a number of reasons for this, and one is just the pure restriction of size, so getting the framing right and seeing what sort of details are actually in the photo or video can be sort of pretty difficult. The other thing is just because they're so thin and they often have to be able to move, the technology that's involved in them that lets them represent color and exposure just isn't anywhere near what it would be on your computer. And a field monitor is sort of supposed to be a mini version of what you're looking at home on your computer that sort of mounts on your camera. The other thing that a field monitor can do that your camera screen can't is it can actually show you the photo or video the way that you intend it to look once you get it home and edit it. Modern field monitors have the ability to load what they call LUTs, which are a lookup table. And essentially what it is if you're shooting in a flat or log profile, or if you're shooting in a RAW format, and you know when you're going to get home, there's a basic edit that you're going to do with your color and contrast, what have you, you can actually load that into your field monitor. So when you're looking, you're actually getting a view in the field monitor of roughly what you expect the edited footage or photos to look like, which is an extremely powerful thing to have, and you really can't do that in your camera. The other thing about field monitors is when it comes to really sort of building up a cinema rig that often we do with these mirrorless cameras nowadays, certainly they can produce some incredibly high quality footage that we put cages and microphones and stabilizers or gimbals and all kinds of stuff on them. Often this sort of equipment going around your camera will end up burying or making it very hard to see and access the monitor or screen that's on your camera. Where a field monitor can be basically mounted anywhere on the cage or handle, and generally it's often mounted at the very top, really closer to where you can see it. The other thing about the field monitors being bigger is it's also something that if you are filming yourself and maybe you don't even have a flip-up screen, which some cameras don't have a flip-up screen, or you're far enough away that that screen is so small you can't really tell if you're in focus or it's exposed correctly or not, having a bigger field monitor just gives you that view and that ability to see that at a little bit greater distance. And so when Portkeys offered to send out their new budget-level PT5 field monitor, I thought sort of, what the heck? That's something I haven't covered on this channel, and something that's budget friendly that some of my viewers might actually benefit from, might be a good thing to get on the channel and just share with you. And when you receive the PT5, it's going to come in a little case like this, and we'll just open it up, and it's pretty cool because it comes with its own hard carrying shell case, which is a pretty cool thing for a monitor at this price point. It's got a series of clasps around the outside, and we just click those open, 4 clasps, and we fold that open, and that reveals our field monitor. Now in the case, we're going to find the sunshade here. We are going to find the field monitor, which has the little bumpers on it that hold the sunshade. And we're going to find an all metal bracket to hold the monitor on your camera, which is pretty impressive. I've actually seen some more expensive field monitors and they've got plastic brackets. So I'm quite impressed with the strength and sort of build quality of that bracket. Now you flip it over, and on the back we're going to have the spot where we can put our battery, which is not included, but these are reasonably cost effective. Mine is just a generic Neewer version. It's a Sony style battery like Sony has used for many of their cameras for many years, and so that's going to power this unit for quite some time. Now underneath the little foam bit here, We are going to get two different cables. One is our HDMI to micro HDMI. We are going to get a little Allen key, which we use to adjust the tension on our sort of little holder or bracket there. And then we've got a normal HDMI to normal HDMI. Now, in my case, for my camera, I just need the HDMI to micro HDMI. So we're going to get that out. We'll put this back together and we'll get this on top of the camera and just show you what it looks like and how the whole thing works. Now, I've just got my Canon M50 here in my sort of cinema rig sort of build out that I've done. And all we're going to do is we're going to mount this field monitor on the top of the camera, and we're just going to point it up so you can see it in the overhead image here. And we're just going to plug the little HDMI port into the top one here. That is our HDMI in. And then we are going to link that down into our HDMI out of our camera. Now that we've done that, we're just going to turn on the monitor. It's got a little on-off switch on the side here. We better put the battery in first. Now, the way we hook up the battery is we just slide this in, it just sits in there and then slides in. That clicks into place. And we just flip the monitor on with a switch on the side here. All right, now we've got the field monitor up, and this is what it looks like. And the cool thing is, even being an inexpensive little budget field monitor, it has all the things we need, and that is the crystal clear image that we've got on here. We've got really accurate color representation. It allows a 4K input signal, and then it outputs 1080p, which on a small monitor like this is plenty. We've got plenty of detail here. And what I'm seeing on the screen here is night and day better than what you're going to see on the back of your screen on the camera. Now, even being a budget monitor, this is a full touchscreen enabled monitor. So we have control of all of our settings as far as the brightness, the sharpness, color temperature. Everything is controlled as far as what the monitor is displaying here. And then we have a series of settings along the side here. And this is a 5-inch field monitor, which I would say gives you an area that's roughly double, maybe even more, what's on the back of the camera. And once again, a super accurate representation of color and exposure. It's a well-built little field monitor. It is all plastic, but it's like a really thick plastic, so that keeps it lightweight, but it doesn't feel like it is going to break or anything, and it doesn't feel cheaply made at all. It actually feels like quite a high quality of build for this inexpensive little field monitor. And certainly one of my favorite things is the touchscreen and how everything is controlled by the touchscreen. You will find other monitors out there where you've got all these buttons and dials along the side, which becomes very confusing and you're trying to control it. But here, everything is with the touchscreen. You just swipe back and forth. And a couple of things I just want to show you off the bat here and what you can do. It's got a display flip. So if we are actually mounting this in a way where the display is upside down, we just hit display flip and now it flips the display over. So we click that, we unflip that. That gives us a lot of options as far as our mounting position goes. And the other thing that is really cool about this is the LUT or lookup table. This is where it allows you to go in and select kind of your editing process or what you think you want it to look like in the end as far as color and saturation, all these tweaks go. It's got some pre-built ones put in here. So if you go stored from USB, it's got some that have come default on it. There are a few Sony ones, Sony S-Log ones, there are Z-Cam one. But if you go along here, hit back, if we hit USB looks, this is going to allow us to access, by plugging in a little USB drive into the side, it is going to allow us to find, and it says no device here because we've got nothing plugged in. It allows us to find that drive, navigate through, and find the USB lookup table that we want to use. Now, this can be particularly good if you're using CineStyle or any of these sort of log style formats, because that will allow you to, there's a bunch of predefined LUTs out there, or lookup tables as they're called, that you can load into the monitor. And then if you're using CineStyle, rather than getting this sort of flat, totally washed out image, and then you're not sure what it's going to look like when you get it home and go through the editing process, you can put that lookup table in here, and it's going to give you quite an accurate representation of what that's going to look like when you go into editing. That gives you a lot of control and gives you something to think about. So when you're trying to get your exposure right and all these things that can kind of be hard when you're using one of those sort of flat or cinematic profiles, it takes a bunch of that guesswork out of it. Now, the other thing this has got that it's really cool is focus peaking. And it's got our menu items along the side here. And to access the ones that I've added to this camera, or I've added to the menu system, I just swipe over. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit the focus peaking. I'm going to turn these off for now. So now I've got focus peaking on, and what you're going to see is anything that is in focus has got sort of a little red area around it. Particularly for video, but for photo as well, this allows you to get really, really accurate focus when you are using manual focus. And it is super powerful, and a lot more powerful than the focus peaking that might be built into your camera, simply because you have a much bigger screen to work with. Another thing the field monitor has is a built-in histogram. So if I click on that, what you can see is the histogram in the camera is much bigger, and it's actually taking up a fair bit of space and screen real estate. I don't actually need it to be that big anymore because I've got such a big screen. So you can see down here, this is the display or the field monitor's own histogram. So I've got my own histogram here, so I can go in the camera itself and actually turn off the camera's histogram, thereby creating a better view of the entire situation and only taking up this little space in the bottom right corner. And I'll just turn that on and off over here by clicking on the histogram. You can see how that works. You've also got the option for zebras here. Now the zebras just lets you know when you've got an area that is overexposed, so you can decrease your exposure. So you can see along the bottom here where I've got the desk, which is quite bright, I'm getting these lines here. That is a warning that we might be overexposed. That is called zebras. And I can just toggle that on and off with a little touch there. I've also got a grid option. So if I just click on the screen and click on the grid there, you're going to see my grid, so I can sort of use the rule of thirds. And you can use these things together. So I've got the grids turned on now. Now I'm going to turn on the histogram as well. So I've turned on the zebras as well. I might want to turn on the histogram. So I've turned on the histogram. So I've got the histogram going there in the bottom right corner. Click this. I'll go back to the main menu. I also, if I have audio coming out of my HDMI in my camera, I can also monitor this with headphones, and I've got control of the volume with the little switch here. Once again, our LUT loader is here, so we can use any of the LUTs that are in there or load new ones in. And ultimately, I think this is just a super powerful little monitor, a little budget monitor for people that are finding when they're getting home and looking at their photos and videos, they're being completely surprised by what they're getting in the field or disappointed. Something like this can really change the game for you, particularly when it's something you don't have the opportunity to go out there and try again. And I'll put links in the description down below, and I have started doing a thing where with my affiliate links, you can basically click through and it will give you the top providers that I am affiliated with, and currently it's like Moment and Amazon and B&H and Adorama. So you can actually just click through and find the best price right away and know that you're getting the best price. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.